Welcome back to Legacy Films, viewers. It is New Year's Eve, which means it's the end of the year, which means it's the end of the year for the movies. But that also means it's time to unveil the best of the best from 2025. I watched 63 new films this year, so pinning down the top 10 was very difficult. But coming in at number 10 is Drop, which I thought was a great taut thriller with a fantastic cast and great use of suspension and tension. Every little detail comes into play in some kind of way, and the cast is really fantastic. At number 9, we have the Man of Steel himself, Superman. This movie just brought Superman back to the mainstream, basically back from the dead. James Gunn has done a phenomenal job directing this movie. Everything that they chose to do with it was absolutely phenomenal. Just making Superman the symbol of hope again is exactly what we needed, and I'm so glad that he's back in the public consciousness. At number 8, we have Predator: Badlands, which in my opinion, I was not the biggest fan of Prey, but for me this was Prey. It just brought so much life back to the Predator franchise, and while I was really hesitant in the way that they were going with this movie, I am very happy with the way that it turned out, even if it had been better if it was R-rated. At number 7, we have Thunderbolts, a movie that just brought so much life back to the MCU and made people excited to go to see Marvel movies again. I love this new team and their dynamics with one another. They have such great chemistry all together, but it was also a really great story about depression and mental health and finding help with those things. At number 6, we have Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, which just continued this amazing trend of these Knives Out movies being such fun, inventive thrillers with fantastic casts and Daniel Craig being an absolute scene stealer. Bringing us into the top 5, we have Novocaine, which just was so fun, so refreshing. The action, the comedy, it all felt so fresh and inventive. And for me, it proved that Jack Quaid is absolutely a great leading man. At number 4, we have I Swear. This is a British movie, and it's all about the true story of a man who has Tourette's syndrome and how he helped educate people about Tourette's syndrome in a much wider perspective than they had been. This film stars Robert Aramayo, who you might know from The Rings of Power, and he is absolutely phenomenal in this movie. It's very informative about Tourette's syndrome and extremely heartfelt. At number 3, we have F1. This was just a crowd pleaser. This was the Top Gun Maverick of this year. Just this relatively safe underdog sports movie, but that doesn't mean it wasn't satisfying, and I just walked out of that theater with the biggest grin on my face. At number 2, we have the Fantastic Four: First Steps. As a Fantastic Four fan for a very long time, it does me such pleasure to see Marvel's first family done right. Finally, I love the aesthetic, I love the world that they inhabit, the cast are all fantastic, they have great chemistry with one another, and I am so excited to see this cast interact with the rest of the Marvel cast in the Avengers movies. But for me, number 1 has to be The Long Walk. Just what this movie was able to accomplish with such a simple premise and this confined setting where it's just these guys walking and talking. The emotions that it manages to make you feel is unprecedented. You would think that would get boring after half an hour. It doesn't. This is a phenomenal movie. The entire cast is absolutely phenomenal, and in the end, it was just the movie that made me feel the most this year. So there we have it, my top 10 movies of 2025. We're going to go ring in 2026, so I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's, and I will see you in 2026.